as the jab continues to come in. The jaw of Malignaggi as active as his left hand. 3 or 4 rounds, exactly the way he wants it. Paul Malignaggi feeling comfortable. In between the 5th and the 6th round, a realization by the corner of Malignaggi. They all agreed, you know what? He's not strong enough to do what he needs to do on the inside. All right, Teddy, let's set it up for you. Sticking out his tongue, saying, I'm not affected by that jab.
But he is affected, and that's why he's sticking his tongue out, Joe. He's frustrated, no doubt.
Frustration setting in.
Malignaggi's laughing.
His brain no longer thinks. Speed kills, I guess.
There he got his hands free, but he gets inside.
A man so cocky as to name himself that.
Right hand from Malignaggi.
Sit down, cocky. Sit down.
Oh, he puts him down.
Watch just a moment ago, stuck his tongue out. Jody was frustrated. That means you're not thinking. That means you're going to leave it.
Dizzy.
They best be getting focused.
Your eyes are dizzy, kid.
They best be getting focused.
Your eyes are dizzy.
They best be getting focused. Keep that shit like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Never met a fighter who loved the camera more, who loved attention more.
I don't blame Malignaggi for coming up trying to be flashy and trying to make something for himself. Otherwise, you can go your whole career and not get paid well.
Yeah. The thing is, if you're going to sell the sizzle, you got to sell the steak. And Malignaggi right there did something that we have not seen from him in his professional career against a guy with a good record, a guy with a lot of pride and an ego, clearly from the way Watts was fighting and even showboating. Malignaggi knocked him out clean.
Paulie hasn't fought a guy above him in the rankings. He's had a bunch of hand injuries. He's won every fight, and he won most of them as a one-handed fighter.
Left jab, left jab, left jab. What's a fighter to do with only one hand? Hang tough, dodge and weave, hit him with another left. But how far can a one-handed fighter go? How far?
When I ended up with Paulie Malignaggi and my son Frankie asked me to manage him, I knew I had to get him to Dr. Stephen Margles to repair his hands.
He was undefeated, but before Sal met him, at least his previous 3 fights, if not 4 fights, he essentially fought one-handed. His right hand just hurt all the time. Without the surgery, Paulie's career wasn't going to go anywhere. He's got a total of 4 screws here. Very shortly into his training, he hit the sparring partner's head, and he got this severe pain in his hand. It just shot up his arm, so I started giving him anesthetic injections for his sparring. And he got through the training, and then he had his fight. That was at the Ballroom.
From the legendary Hammerstein Ballroom in the heart of New York City, we get an opportunity to see the Magic Man.
And that night before the fight, we numbed it up.
Malignaggi has been having problems, Wally, with his right hand. And the question for the Magic Man, has that right hand healed? Such a charismatic fighter. Here comes Paulie Malignaggi and Yelp.
Now, Malignaggi's had some serious work done. A bone graft, some screws put in. I mean, you're talking about a bionic hand. And he hasn't really used the right hand yet. If you notice, it's been all left, a couple of rights to the body.
He went in and he won that fight. Unanimous 8-round decision.
By unanimous decision, and still undefeated, Paulie the Magic Man Malignaggi.
I was a little bit less than thrilled because he probably only threw the right hand 5 times in that fight. The next day, I get a call from Sal. Paulie's got a problem. I said, what's the problem? He says, he thinks he's broke his hand. So he came in, and you can see the broken bone right here. See this crack? Right at the screw head. And because he's got callus there, I know that didn't happen 3 days ago on the day of the fight. That's probably 5 weeks, which is when Paulie hit that guy sparring. So Paulie sparred for at least 5 weeks with a broken hand. So we finished the second operation, took these pins out, and based on these x-rays, we were able to give him permission to go ahead and start fighting again. So he was down about 3 months, which has to be some kind of a record.
We are at Foxwoods in southeastern Connecticut, and it is now time for our main event. Undefeated Paul Malignaggi takes on 16-1 Donald Camarena. Which way will their careers go? Malignaggi broke his right hand in each of his last 2 bouts. The win over Yelton, his only fight in the last 14 months. That's due to surgeries. He now says the hand is 100%.
That was the first fight to test the new hand.
He has a lot of faith in that healed-up right hand. They actually put an artificial bone in the right hand of Paul Malignaggi.
And that one, he used his hand tremendously.
Now, touch gloves. Touch gloves, Paul. Thank you.
I gotta survive, even if I take a hit.
Malignaggi, who's staying to the fight plan.
An interest hand, goes back to it, and sends in a short, very fast right hand and scores.
Now that guy was also built to be as a strong fighter, not any kind of a pushover. And Paulie made him look like a rank amateur.
First round to the last round, there won't be a sound. Let your team step it up if they want to stick around.
Paulie Malignaggi, a closer look. His boxing idol, Arturo Gatti.
I don't know that many boxers. I mean, the only one I know who consistently fights with a broken hand is Arturo Gatti, one of Paulie's heroes.
We've heard some call him the lost brother from growing up Gotti, but he's much more Gatti than he ever was Gotti.
He had 2 hands, and he was able to do his thing. And he beat Camarena, who I have respect for as a good fighter, so decisively that it was almost embarrassing to the other kid.
I mean, it was embarrassing. The guy couldn't touch Paulie.
Oh, here we go.
I agree with you. The hand speech is too much right now.
After the last fight, we're confident that he can just let his hands go, and he doesn't have to be hesitant. He doesn't have to second-guess his right hand anymore like he used to.
And here comes the Foxwoods crowd. Love him or hate him, they love him here because the chant of Paulie has risen up.
Talk a lot of junk, but I back it up. If you want what I have, then you gotta step it up, cause in this game there's only one winner. If you wanna come in second, then be a quitter. I gotta survive.
And Paulie didn't knock him out, but Paulie battered him for 10 rounds. And at the end of the fight, the other guy picked up Paulie and held him up. He knew he had gotten beat.
And the new WBC Continental America's champion from Brooklyn, New York, Paulie, the Magic Man Malignaggi.
We have a Brian Kenny trinket alert. It's a trinket alert here at Foxwoods, but Paulie Malignaggi is 21-0.
You gotta survive.
21 down, how many to go? How many hands will blow? Crowds explode. Waiting, fighting, yearning for that big show.
Bob Arum was going to promote this big show at the Garden on the weekend of the Puerto Rican Day Parade. He needed someone as a foil to Cotto who could sell tickets. Well, you got an Italian-American kid who's good-looking, has a big mouth, lives in Brooklyn, and sells tickets.
This fight is what boxing, what New York is all about. You have the best fighter in Puerto Rico, Miguel Cotto, an Italian kid from Brooklyn. This is a West Side Story being played out in the boxing ring.
Is there anybody out there that you fought that fights a similar style to his?
No conozco el estilo de Paul, no sé cómo pelea, no me preocupa en la forma. Tengo que prepararme yo, estar ready yo para el combate y él debe hacer lo mismo.
You know, I never seen him fight. I don't know what kind of style he's gonna bring. I'll find out when I'm in the ring with him. And I mean, I'm just worried about getting myself ready to fight, and he should be doing the same thing.
Miguel Cotto, he's got to go out there and make Paulie fight his fight. He's got to have Paulie stand toe-to-toe with him, and maybe he'll hit Paulie on the chin.
Malignaggi can't match Cotto for power.
Cotto hits him with another devastating knockout from Miguel Cotto. Can you believe it? 22 fights, 22 knockouts.
Yeah, his punching power is something you have to respect without a doubt. And you have to respect the fact that he's made all his defenses and won them by knockout. So you have to definitely respect that. But like I said, what he does falls into my strengths. And like I said, he's going to be forced to make an adjustment. So he ain't never seen nothing like Paulie Malignaggi. He ain't never going to see nothing like Paulie Malignaggi afterwards, believe me. He might not even see me that night.
Paulie's got to watch himself. If he don't watch himself, he'll have to get hit in the chin. Cotto can punch. He can really punch, and he can fight.
Classic matchup of power versus speed. And speed kills.
This is like a bullfight. The Matador against the bull.
So far, Camarina's been the bull with no horn. And Malignaggi has been the Matador. Not with a cape, but with those quick hands.
Who wins when a Matador and a bull go at it?
Matador usually wins, you know what I mean? He domesticates the bulls.
Matador takes out the bull every time. That's why people come to watch. They want to see the excitement. They want to see the bull try to get his shots in, but he never does. You know what I mean? He never does. That's what we're going to be doing all night to Miguel Cotto. All night. You know?
Just expect me to domesticate the bull on June 10th.
Boxers is punchers. Every decade, every generation, there's always a puncher that no one can forget about. He's amazing. He hits hard. And what happens? He always loses to the boxer. In the end, the demise of a puncher is always the boxer. And that will never change. That is boxing.
I'm not a guy that really goes in there saying, oh, I'm going to knock him out and that's it. You know, I come in there guaranteeing victory. You know what I mean? Whether it comes by decision, whether it comes by knockout, it doesn't matter to me. My job is to win fights, and that's what I do. I consistently win fights, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to win the fight. I'm going to entertain people doing it.
He'll dance, he'll sing, he'll do everything in there. He'll put a show on. And that's the type of fighter that'll win the fight. That's the type of fighter that can beat Cotto.
You know what? There's fighters all the time that talk and say a lot of things, and that never in the ring it never happens. So you know, I'm not worried about it all at that. You know, he's not gonna get inside my head. He should be worried getting inside the ring with me.
On June 10th, Paulie is getting the opportunity he always wanted. You know, I don't fight the fights. I get the kid what they want.
Most guys are scared of Cotto. That's how they lose, like Tyson. My guy's not scared. My guy's excited to get to him. He can't wait. This is like fun.
He believes he's going to be world champion. You can't be any more hungry than Paulie is. You can't be any more confident than Paulie is. And I think on June 10th, he's going to shock the world.
I want to say I respect the Puerto Rican people. I have many Puerto Rican friends, but on June 10th, I'm going to beat your champion. Well, I think a lot of people think this fight is a bit of a mismatch sometimes when they see the knockout ratio on my record. But, you know, like Lou just said, the doctor told him that was the worst hand he'd ever seen. And believe me when I tell you, man, I was in a lot of pain for a lot of those fights. So when you see my lack of knockouts, it's not necessarily that the power ain't there. The situation is different now. I'm a two-handed fighter, meaning I can throw two-handed combinations. The thing that aggravated me the most was that, you know, I'm fighting another professional fighter in there that's trying to hurt me. And I'm beating him with one hand. Instead of giving me that credit, people out there are trying to say, oh, he's like a physical, boring fighter, man. This kid, nobody, or something like that. You know what I mean? That hurts somebody like me because I work real hard in there. I know how hard I work. I'm one of the hardest working fighters you'll ever see. People were saying that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was getting me down. Those days are gone. On June 10th, I think a lot of people are going to have to give me credit. You know what I mean? I heard the gentleman over here from the Garden saying that they want to put Miguel Cotto in here every year. And Miguel Cotto's good for boxing, so you should bring him back every year the night before the parade. But he'll be coming back with one loss on his record. Thank you. I'm just looking for fuel, you know? Like, I'm just looking to see if Cotto said anything he shouldn't have said, you know? This is Cotto wants to shut up Malignaggi. He's letting me know that I better be prepared to get a good beating like he did to Gianluca Bronco.
And so after 8 rounds and a damaging blow to the shoulder, Bronco is forced to call it quits. Cotto wins another victory by technical knockout.
Sue's mad young.
Dude, he looks like 15, this little kid.
Nah, he hasn't. The thing is, he bought this when he was 15. That's the problem.
Oh, right. He's not ODing on the eyebrows? That's Chauncey.
I do my eyebrows too. That's a little exaggeration.
That's exaggeration.
Yeah, I met a bitch that looks like that.
And then we're gonna X this one out, and that's what's gonna happen in the future. All right? This is the future. All right? Yeah, so today, me and my guys, we got together. We had to go to my boy Tom. He owns Papa's Pizza.
Cotto wants to...
You get your sleeve?
What? To Malignaggi.
Shut up, Malignaggi.
Oh, shut up, Malignaggi. Okay. I'll have a Diet Coke and I'll have a glass of Chianti. glass of Chianti. Is that okay with you?
White or red?
You have any objection? No. All right, thank you.
I'm going to join you. He's a
Okay, that's all right. I was thinking, for example, you know who might be good sparring for this? Santana.
Santana's like decent sparring. He's not aggressive enough though. Santana don't throw punches.
Doesn't throw enough?
He don't throw any punches.